Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is BRANDy Bonner. I am a single mother of 2 children. I'm currently dealing with a lot of health issues that require multiple surgeries, and I am trying my hardest to be the voice to the voiceless predominantly, but to also share insight that I have, that I believe you have to experience something in situations in order to truly witness to those situations and effectively change those situations that are impacting those that majority of people don't know about.
What do you feel the solution is?
Well, I do want to speak on a subject that is raised a lot of eyebrows in America right now, that is in a lot of controversy, and that's gun control. Gun control is not the biggest issue at hand right now because, as represented by 9/11, anyone who has a desire to go on a mass murdering spree will take and conform an otherwise safe, inanimate object and turn it into a weapon of mass destruction. If we look at Sandy Hook, the issue at hand was not stricter gun laws, because that situation would have still happened with stricter gun laws in place, because the family had the right to carry and to own that weapon. It was the child who got access to the weapon and used it to kill people. The biggest issue at hand is mental health and the lack of services and the lack of ability to help those who have a long history of mental health, or to at least diagnose it. There's a fear behind that, and I firsthand feel that fear because on June the 6th of 2015, I lost my children because my daughter is mentally unhealthy. She's been admitted into multiple mental health institutes, but they only stay a few days to a few weeks. They go home, same thing, same situation. No coping skills. Yeah, you can have the counselors in place, you can have that, but what if it needs more than that? What if they need extensive rehabilitation? There's nothing in place for that. On top of that, you have other issues that are concerning in the mental health facilities. You have co-ed, which should not exist because you have children having sex in bathrooms. It's a way for them to meet new boyfriends, girlfriends. They're not making mentally sound and healthy choices as it is, and you're sticking them in an environment with a lot of mentally unhealthy people. So they're not making cognitive choices that are for their best interest. And there's a lack of even attention to what's going on in there because they're so scatterbrained with all these different unrelated mental issues that they're just cramming people in a room. You have minors having sex in bathrooms and you have adults alike. And I feel that all mental health institutions, facilities, whatever, they need to be sectioned off. No co-ed community gatherings, no access to co-eds. And it really needs to be ran a lot stricter, and there needs to be more funds placed into the mental health aspect rather than trying to control a gun. Try to help people get mental health. Statistics show that from 1997 to 2010, that the mental health issues increased by 80%. 80%, that's a lot. And there's still no support out there. There's really nowhere to turn. I lost my children for calling for help one too many times. I can't help that my daughter's mental health. There's nothing I can do about it except try to get her the help that she needs. But now I'm in a place of fear where I can't even call the police for help anymore. I'm afraid to do anything because she is mental health. And they ripped my children out of my lives. They're not following up. My daughter has not been getting proper mental health treatment. She has displaced that she's cutting herself, that she's suicidal still. They have done absolutely nothing. They didn't even call a mental health facility to address that. She's ran away twice. She's expelled from 2 schools. There's a lot of issues that are going on, and these didn't even go on when she was in my care. And right now she's in a mental health facility, and we're going through the same situations that we were going through before, except I don't even have the right to make decisions about my children, medical decisions, and I'm getting calls from their insurance companies because they're being medically neglected. My son is a special needs child. He has he can't see any dentist. He needs to go to a craniofacial clinic. He needs braces, but they have to be specialized. And they're changing all their doctors, sending them to wherever, and I don't even know where they're going, and these doctors don't have their history. On top of that, how is it better for my daughter to not be in school? And telling my daughter that it's okay for her to do drugs, that's what teenagers do. No, it's not. Or it's okay for her to have sex because that's what teenage girls do. No, it's not. There's no one holding Child Protective Services accountable. On top of that, they have violated my parental rights to begin with. They violated my civil rights by telling me that I did not have the right to remain silent and forced me to answer questions that potentially put my life in danger, as well as my children. They have put my children in endangered environments. And a year ago, the first time that my daughter went to a mental health facility, I have on record stating that they agreed with the facility that the discharge plan was going to be that they were going to provide in-home services for my daughter and help me get her into a long-term treatment program. I wasn't even aware that they agreed with the facility on this, but I never heard from DFACS again until the night they removed me from my home and essentially made me homeless. I can't help the fact that I don't have income right now because I am physically unwell. I need multiple surgeries. They found a mass on my left breast. I need tons of testing that I can't get done. I need gallbladder surgery, and I can't get anything done to even progress my health, other than go to the hospital every month, twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. I can't get my seizure medications, nothing, because they have taken away my insurance because my kids don't live with me. And the state of Georgia was given, or every state was given the option to base Medicaid on income solely. However, the state of Georgia elected not to implement that criteria and continue to do it the way they do, which is you have to have children under 18 living in the home and based on income, or disabled or blind or what have you. But there's not enough medical out there. What about these people who don't have medical insurance that are in need of mental health services? That could be prevented, but they can't get them because the requirements for Medicaid and insurance, instead of fixing the problems that are already there, we're implementing new things. Why don't we look at the situations at hand that really need to be adjusted and fix that? For example, Georgia said that it would cost $2 billion if they solely went on income for Medicaid. However, the federal government was offered to reimburse $37.5 billion. How are we losing money by taking advantage of this that was out there for everyone? And I don't feel the state should have individual rights to make decisions on medical insurance, especially when there are so many untreated mental health cases going on. The lack of income is also a big mental health factor. The lower the income, the higher the risk. Well, if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of single mothers dealing with children in mental health facilities. My daughter's heart was broken, and she was emotionally, mentally traumatized from age 4 when her father and I divorced. I can't help that. I was living in a battered, abusive relationship, and I could not raise my kids in that. In 2013, I lost my husband to brain cancer, and that has drastically impacted her, and to the point where she was in denial. And then at the 1-year anniversary of his death, that was the first time she was admitted into a mental health facility. Then I lost my mother in March of 2015, and it's just been one thing after another. But there is so little lack of resources, and on top of that, when you have DFACS workers that are medically neglecting my children, that are not making sure that they're even in the right programs or anything, and they're providing no services to towards reunification for my family. That is very disturbing when they've told my daughter that she will never live with me again. That has traumatized her, and she's voiced that this has put a lot of stress on her. It's put a lot of stress on me, on my son, and no one is even instilling values in them right now. This is just totally ripping families apart. Why not leave them in the homes that they're in, provide them services there, help get them to wherever they need to be? The problem was my daughter has mental health issues. The only thing that they have where I don't have my children is because they removed me from my home and made me homeless and then used it against me, and that I don't have income. I can't make disability process go any faster than it's going. I physically cannot work. I can't even function physically a solid month without going to the hospital. I'm in desperate need of surgeries. I have a mass on my breast. I mean, I am truly physically disabled, although not declared technically by disability. I see 6 different doctors. They all agree that I need to be on disability, and I can't rush the process any further. But how is it that my son can miss 16 days of school the first month of school, and he's in de facto custody, and they're not held accountable? If it were me, I would be in jail. I would have to pay a fine. How is it that my daughter can get expelled from not 1 but 2 schools, and they're not being held accountable? How is it that all this is going under the radar, and all I've been told is, I don't know how to help you. I don't have the ability to fix this. Well, who does? Because these are children that are falling through the cracks. These are families that's lives are being flipped, turned, switched upside down over some things that they may not even be able to help. I cannot help that I'm sick. I can't help that I've had 5 abdominal surgeries. I can't help that I need a 6th one. I can't help that I had complications from it. And this has really devastated my life, and it's not right that they can go and say and do anything just to get that federal check. And they have the right to just take children from their families with really no one to hold them accountable or responsible. And it's not right that they give me a case plan. I can't even work, which is predominantly medical, because I don't have the insurance. And I can't get income when I physically can't work. It's impossible. I'm working on disability. But, even housing is not even good enough for them. They have flipped our lives upside down. And I'm saying I need help, and I've been saying that because they came in and disrupt our lives. All I've been trying to do is get my daughter in a long-term treatment program. I have seen tremendous results with this one program, and I've been trying since 2012. But I can never get before the judge because all she has to do is say, I'm going to kill myself. And the fact that she's ran away twice doesn't go before the judge. The fact that she's committing crimes, and they are turning her into a habitual criminal and never being held accountable because all she's got to do is say, I'm going to kill myself. And there is no one there speaking for us. They have violated my rights. If my daughter overdoses and gets put on life support, DFACS, who knows nothing about my children, has the right to say that we're going to pull the plug and let my daughter die. I have no right or no say-so over what happens to them, but I still have my parental rights, but they are violating them and not allowing me to implement them. There's no reason, because I've been taking care of them so all along, and they have been neglected more in the last 7 months than they have their entire lives, just since they've been in de facto custody. And I demand answers. And President Obama, the ACLU, I was told that my 5th Amendment right was not allowed and was not admissible during a preliminary protective hearing. I thought my constitutional rights were always standing, and it can't be conditional. It's either there or it isn't. But I have that on transcripted record, where they put my life in danger and my children's lives in danger, and told me that I had to answer questions when I tried to invoke the 5th Amendment right that potentially could end up causing me to lose my life. And that's on record. And how is this possible? How is it that I can't call for help and get help without being punished? I'm being penalized because I called for help one too many times for my daughter, and I would do it again. If my daughter tells me she's cutting herself or she's going to kill herself, I'm going to call every time, because I've not let my daughter die on my watch, and I shouldn't be punished for it. And this is a direct violation of my parental rights. This is discrimination for me being low income, for me being disabled, for them causing me to be removed from my home and then using it against me in court. And no one is holding them accountable for the destruction they have caused in my children's lives. My son's been suspended from school in one way or another 3 or 4 times just in the first semester of school. That doesn't include the medical neglect going on. My daughter had inflammation of the heart. They didn't even see a specialist, didn't even get her medication. There was one time that the pharmacy called me and said that if someone didn't come pick up her medication, they were putting it back on the shelf. So I went and picked it up. I don't mind doing those things, but every time I would go to court with more information about my children while I'm away from the home than they knew while they had custody of my children, they cut my communication out completely to where I only have 2 hours of visitation every 2 weeks with my children. And on top of that, this started in June. I've only visited with my children through their supervised visitation lady twice. And once with my son, twice with my daughter. How is that right? How is that fair to just rip our lives to pieces like that? It's not right. And they have destroyed my family. And I'm already suffering enough. My children are already suffering enough. And how is any of this in the best interest of my children? My daughter is going to age out in 1.5 years, and I will not be able to get her the help she needs if someone doesn't stand up and represent us properly right now. And that's all I want to say is that I know that there are so many other people going through this, and it's not right. And there needs to be a certain standard held to Child Protective Services that they can't keep doing this to people because they're given all the power to take children from parents, but just to get the federal check from the government. But once they take them, they don't even know what to do with them anymore. They just throw them here and there, and they don't even care if they're thriving as long as they're getting that check. And this is not in the best interest of the children of America. And it used to not be this way, but it's getting worse and worse and worse. And something needs to be done. Because this is a whole generation of children. And the reason I believe the two go hand in hand, you cannot expect a child to thrive and to be mentally at 100% when you are ripping their lives apart and bashing their mother for no reason and telling them that they'll never live with their mother again and just destroying everything that they've ever known and then expect them to thrive, especially when they're already having problems adjusting and coping with loss. That is just adding fuel to the fire. And it's not their fault that they're having problems coping and adjusting. But why destroy their lives even more? And I want to see something happen to where there is a standard that's set that these people in Child Protective Services and in Department of Family and Children's Services, Human Services, a standard that they have to be accountable for. A standard set before them that they have to adhere to. And a streamline of someone that we as Americans, as citizens, as parents can reach out to whenever they're not complying and not make it so difficult because I know Senator Thompson's well aware of what's going on with my situation. I know I've contacted Congress. I've contacted everyone, and all I'm told is, I don't know how to help you. That's not within my power. I don't know what to tell you. That's not in my jurisdiction. They are given so much jurisdiction to take away, but none to give back. And they are not helping families to reunify. They are keeping them as long as possible in order to get that check. And then parents are given a year to work that case plan. And if they can't work it within that year, they take their parental rights. And so if I can't get disability in time, I'll lose my children and my parental rights all because my daughter is mental health and I called for help one too many times, but she's not thriving in the system she's in now. And how is that in the best interest? And I'm just asking for help. I'm praying that someone hears this, and if there's people out there that are going through what I'm going through or anything similar or your own situation, reach out. Let's band together. Let's demand answers. Let's demand retribution. Let's demand that someone stand up for our children before it's too late. And I just appreciate everyone for taking the time to listen. This is not a video I wanted to make. It's a video I felt that I have to make because I'm all my children have, and my first job is to protect them, and my hands are tied, and there's nothing I can do. And I don't know what else to do or where to turn, but I've reached out to everyone I possibly can. And I just hope that this helps someone else out there. And I just hope it invokes change, most of all, because there's a desperate need for change in this system that is failing us. Thank you all so much. God bless and have a great day.